Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, I'm going to share the journey that I call my life. Bang! I heard a door slam. I remember clearly like it was yesterday, standing on the stairs of the home I grew up in, paralyzed, afraid to take those last few steps up, because just around the corner my parents were yelling and screaming at each other once again, and I didn't understand why. Up until this point in my life, my family was everything to me. I'd grown up, and all I really cared about was loving my family unconditionally, and all of a sudden I felt all of that falling apart around me. And in that moment, at the age of 8 years old, I made a decision that love equals pain. And with that belief, the direction of my life was changed forever. I grew up in a broken family. My parents got divorced when I was young. I completely disconnected from them and the rest of the world emotionally. And I spent many years completely giving up on the idea of family, love, connection. I lived a very lonely childhood. I was very shy and socially awkward growing up through school. I still remember in elementary school eating my lunch inside the desk because I was afraid of other kids judging me for what my mom had packed me for lunch. Moving into high school, I remember sitting at the cafeteria table with my friends and being afraid to say a word because I didn't believe that anything I had to say had any value. I felt completely invisible to the world, and I spent most of my days just wishing that I could be someone else. This was a pretty dark time in my life, but this suffering and pain was what led me to my now deep, burning desire to learn and grow. In my early 20s, I found myself in a franchise company that promoted themselves as one of the top entrepreneurial development companies in North America. At this time, I had no business being in business, but I did have that burning desire to succeed and prove my worth. I soon was introduced to personal growth. And all of a sudden, I was attracting these amazing mentors into my life. I was reading countless books. I was listening to audio tapes between 2 to 10 hours a day. I was traveling around and attending some of the top personal development courses in the world. And all of a sudden, my network was full of people who I would consider successful. And I found myself excelling in business. I became the top franchisee in the history of the company. And all of a sudden, coming from a few years before of having absolutely no belief in myself, all of a sudden I had complete belief in myself, especially when it came to business. It was a couple of years into this mission to prove my worth that I was at a course where there was a process where we had to climb up a telephone pole and jump out towards a trapeze that was a good 10 to 15 feet out. I don't know if that might be wrong, that seems a lot, but it was quite far. And as we walked up, everyone around me was terrified. And for me, what was going through my head was I was excited. I was excited to get up there faster and better than anyone else to prove myself. And as I walked up, before I climbed that pole, I walked up to the head facilitator. His name was Rob. And he said some words to me that changed my life. First, he asked me, "Can you prove that there's a God?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Can you prove that someone loves you?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Can you ever prove that you're worthy?" And I said, "I guess not." And he said, just like God or just like love, you can never prove that you're good enough. It's a belief that you either believe or you don't. And he said, if I continue on the path that I'm on right now, that I'm going to continue chasing money, chasing material success, and that I'd never truly be happy because you can never prove that you're good enough. And he told me that as soon as I stop treating life like a proving ground, it'll turn into a playground. So I climbed up that pole just like I used to climb the monkey bars back in elementary school. Didn't care at all what the people below me thought. And I got to the top, and I stood up tall, and I put my arms out wide, and I looked out ahead at that trapeze, and where I would normally envision some business goal to jump out towards in a breakthrough process, all I saw was this bright white light that represented love. And I jumped out, and I grabbed on, and as I heard everyone applauding below, I saw the things that were truly important to me in life. I saw love, I saw relationships, I saw connection, I saw family. all the things I've been neglecting on my pursuit of materialistic business success. So the direction of my life and my focus changed from that point on. Fast forward around a year later, I was now 25 years old, and I thought I had life figured out. I built and systemized a business. I was traveling the world for months at a time each year. I had an amazing girlfriend, and I even retired my father. I was overflowing with confidence. And then everything changed. I fell in love with my business. I ended things with my girlfriend. And as oil prices tanked, so did my net worth. And as I felt my confidence slipping away, I realized that behind that fake wall of materialistic success that I built around me, I was still that shy, scared little boy that I'd been back in high school. And this shook me to my core and sent me on one of the most profound journeys of my life. I took off, sold everything, and went and traveled the world on a journey of self-discovery. And I found myself on a spiritual path, mostly using meditation, yoga, ayahuasca, and other plant medicines. I started to turn my gaze inward. And as I stopped looking outward and turned my focus inward, what I found amazed me. I realized for the first time in my life that I've been worthy since the day I was born. And the materialistic successes and failures that I've had do not define me as a human. And my entire life, I've been searching for freedom through entrepreneurship, travel, and avoiding relationships. And I finally found it through unconditional self-love. And in conclusion, I'm home now. I am moving on to the next. Okay. Really fast. Okay, I can do
Yeah,
okay.
I think that too, yeah.
I was told by someone that icebergs don't get clapped down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll be quick. So now I'm home. So now I've returned home to start the next chapter of my life. And I can honestly say I'm happier and healthier than I've ever been before. And when I look back now to the good times and the bad, I honestly can say that I am so grateful for the negative and the positive experiences that I've had so far in my life, because all of them shaped me into who I am today. And I can say if I never had lost faith in love all those years ago, there's no way I would have such a strong commitment to spreading unconditional love with the world today.
Yeah.